Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Newsroom. I'm your host, Khalid. But today is Friday, the 19th of May 2023, and these are the stories that we will be discussing in detail during the course of the show. We'll begin, ladies and gentlemen, with the G-20 meeting that is to be held in the Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, the disputed region, as per 11 United Nations resolutions. This said, a lot of countries are now showing their reluctance to send their high envoys as far as this moot is concerned. We've had the official declaration by China that it is not going to attend it. We have other countries such as Turkey, such as other countries also that are thinking or might not be attending, or if they do, they will be sending their low-level diplomats from India to attend this conference. There's a general consensus as far as holding such a meeting in a disputed region such as the IIOJK is concerned. That is against the norms of any human rights resolutions, because this is and this continues to be a disputed area despite what India might say. But of course the Indian forces and the Indian army continue their brutalities in the area. There is a strict curfew in the area as well. A lot of people are being put behind bars, and the spate of the whole these barbarities that have been continuing since decades continues. And this is going to be our first story. Our second story of the day, ladies and gentlemen, concerns the latest as far as the post 9th of May incident across Pakistan is concerned. We have had a delegation from the Punjab government that visited Zaman Park this afternoon to come to an understanding as far as the SOPs are concerned regarding searching of the Zaman Park, because apparently there are more than 20 people who are behind the incidents that happened in Pakistan on the 9th of May that are holed there. Now the team from the Punjab government has returned after these negotiations. We'll be informing you of what happened as a result of that. Nevertheless, a lot is happening as well. A lot of members of the parliament from the National Assembly, former members of the parliament from the National Assembly and provincial assembly members also are now leaving the Pakistani Tehreek-e-Insaf because of the way the whole issue of 9th May and post 9th May was handled. We will be discussing different aspects and different latest details as far as the post 9th May scenario in Pakistan and the whole attitude by the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf is concerned. Also, we've only had of late the chairman of Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, Mr. Imran Khan, saying that what happened on the 9th of May was wrong. This is something that he should have done, the first thing that he should have done after these incidents happened. But of course he has waited for a long amount of time, or should I say a number of days, before he made this statement. But does that statement count in the long run? This and more will be discussed as part of our second segment. Then we'll be talking about the group of 7, that is the G7, that are meeting in Hiroshima as we speak between the 19th, that is today, and the 21st of May. They are going to discuss not only economics but also politics, Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine. China as well is going to be discussed, whereas China is also holding separate meetings before this all starts, because there are a lot of issues, contentious issues that exist between members of the G7. And then finally we'll be talking about the Mental Health Awareness Week that began from the 15th of this month, that is Monday, and will continue till Sunday, the 21st of May. The theme this year is anxiety, our just anxiety. What is anxiety? We will be discussing some of the facets of anxiety, what causes it, and how we need to tackle this on different levels. This is going to be our last story. Let's begin with our first, and that concerns the G20 meeting that is probably going to be held between the 22nd and 24th, that is Monday to Wednesday, in the Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir region. The different reactions from those countries who are going to take part, and of course Pakistan's desire that this not be held in the valley, as is the Kashmiri desire, and the Indians continuing to do whatever they have been doing in the Indian held valley since decades. More in the following report.
India is holding a highly controversial G20 meeting of the Working Group on Tourism on 22nd to 24th of May in Srinagar about its atrocities in occupied valley. New Delhi always kept on misleading the international community on the Kashmir dispute, whereas Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir is an internationally recognized disputed territory. Protests, demonstrations, rallies and sit-ins are continuing against the illegitimate G20 meetings to be held in Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir. The UN Special Rapporteur on Minority Issues has warned that the G20 is unwittingly providing a veneer of support to a facade of normalcy at a time when massive human rights violations, illegal and arbitrary arrests, political persecutions, restrictions, and even suppression of free media and human rights defenders continue to escalate. It is pertinent to mention here that no international conferences can be organized in any disputed territory as per international laws and norms, and by hosting the G20 meeting in the disputed territory, India is violating international laws and UN resolutions as well. International human rights obligations and the UN Declaration of Human Rights should be upheld by the organizations such as the G20. Pakistan has a principal position on Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir dispute, which is rooted in the UN Security Council resolutions calling for its solution as per the aspirations of the Kashmiri people under the UN supervised plebiscite.
The aspirations of the Kashmiri people, this is a desire that a lot of countries in the Islamic world, including Pakistan, specifically Pakistan, also want that be discussed, and the people of Indian illegal Jammu and Kashmir be given their right to self-determination. Ambassador Najam Saqib, former ambassador, joins us online. Thank you very much, sir, to have joined us. Sir, when it comes to the G20, this special G20 summit that is going to be held between the 22nd and the 24th, that is Monday to Wednesday, if we just compare it with the human rights abuses that have been going on from the January of 1989 till the 30th of April 2023, the numbers are staggering, from the total killings of around 96,186 to the women gang rape or molested that comes to 11,257. Is the world realizing that? I mean, or is it as usual as has been happening in the past, turning a blind eye to it? But do you also see the reaction coming from certain countries, like China has officially said it's not attending? Will other countries follow suit? Will the countries also send their low-level delegates, that is diplomats from their embassies in India, as has been described by many of the G20 countries? What is the possible scenario?
Thank you very much, Omar. First of all, let us see that it's a very unassuming, a very small, level kind of a meeting of this G20 group. It's a clever move by India, but its aims and objectives in holding this, particular event in the illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir by India, it's not going to work. And I have certain points to make here. Number one is that it's not only a matter of human rights violation, as the United Nations have expressed its concerns, and as you have already very rightly pointed out, it is an internationally accepted disputed territory. Now, two of our friends and two of friends of Kashmir have already declined to participate in this particular event. One is China, the other is Turkey. There are two other Muslim members of G20, and we are hoping that perhaps maybe today, maybe tomorrow, they will also decline. And one is Indonesia, the other is Saudi Arabia. Even if they don't, attend, decline to participate, if they participate, it has to be a little, lower staff level, lower official level. This is what our expectation is. Many people in Pakistan, they are asking question, what is the Foreign Office doing? What is the government of the day doing about it? Let me assure you that not only our friends in G20, all countries of G20 except India, they have been urged, they have been contacted at the highest possible level to actually tell them that, look, this particular thing to you, it is going to be a normal routine meeting, but for us and for people of Kashmir and for the United Nations and our principal stand on, the dispute of Jammu and Kashmir is going to be affected. This is one side of the scene. The other side of the scene is that if India desires to manifestly tell that, okay, as Mumbai and Delhi and Pune and Chennai, etc., is part of India, Jammu and Kashmir is also part of India. This is not going to help. Why? One is that still, as we speak, Omar, no country of the world has actually acceded to or accepted the actions that Indian government took in August 2019, the abrogation of Article 370 and 35A. No one has accepted. So it is not only Pakistan, the world recognizes. Number two, if the G20 by hook or crook, they meet in the Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, that does not mean, that would not, be construing that, okay, now since an international event has taken place in this disputed territory, hence it is a part of India. It is not a part of India. Third point is, if you listen to carefully the statements emanating from New Delhi for the last, let's say, 30, 40 years, they would say that the Indian held Kashmir is an integral part. This is a very important point I'm putting across, which will pacify the feelings and the emotions of Pakistanis and the people of Kashmir. When they talk about New Delhi, they don't say that New Delhi is an integral part of India. When they talk of any other area of India, they just mention the name of that city or town or whatever. Why do they have to say that, time and again, repeatedly reiterate that the Indian held occupied Kashmir is an integral part of India? So it itself tells you that they also know that it's a disputed territory. Now, to sum it up, I would say that after, let's say, this meeting is held, and if actually it is held, because in Monday till Monday there are still 2 days. I'm hoping that two of our more friends, as I mentioned, Saudi Arabia and Indonesia, if they decline one of them, or if they attend this, meeting at a lower level, that would indicate, that will give the real message. As far as Pakistan is concerned, Pakistan has been doing its utmost in, urging the world to accept what they have already, by unanimity, by consensus, they have already decided the future of Jammu and Kashmir, and that is that it has to be decided through a plebiscite, a referendum, in which the people of Kashmir, the whole, area, the whole disputed area, people of Kashmir will decide whether they want to be a part of Pakistan or India. So I am, as a diplomat, I'm not worried. The only thing is that the adamant attitude of India, the illegal, kind of this behavior, it is continuing, and surprisingly, and it gives me anguish and pain that the international community is silent. Doesn't the United States of America know that it's a disputed territory? And if, let's say, Canada, Australia, USA, who are member of the G20, they actually attend and participate in this, aren't they violating the United Nations of, based in New York, in the United States, and mostly funded by the United States? So I am a little surprised and dismayed and amazed.
All right. Now, before we go to the Indian attitude in the illegally held occupied Jammu and Kashmir, let's also, you were talking of the low tier participation by the G20 countries. This has also been confirmed by the Hindustan Times. In fact, in one of its articles related to the G20 meeting, it says, and I quote, that several other countries, both G20 member states and guest countries invited by India to be part of the G20 process, are expected to have low level participation at the meet in Srinagar, likely to be represented by diplomats from their embassies in New Delhi instead of officials from their respective capitals. It also talks about the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. It also talks about Mexico. Let's see how things move around. We have 2 days, as you yourself said. Let's now move to the attitude of the Indian military or the Indian forces as far as the Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir region is concerned. Now, if we look at the latest details that have emanated, Indian Marine Commandos carrying out security drills inside the Dal Lake in Srinagar, National Security Guard Commandos starting frisking and searching operations in city centres, Lal Chowk, paramilitary personnel searching and checking all vehicles entering Srinagar city, many vehicles seized, motorcycles shifted them to police stations, then Marine Commandos, NSG, Special Security Group, paramilitary forces are all there, and of course they add to the misery of the Kashmiri people. Once this moot ends on the 24th, what then? How should these same G20 countries who have participated in this moot react as far as the Kashmir issue is concerned? Do you expect some kind of a statement from important countries? I know China will definitely say something. It has already said something that's very important concerning the IIOJK. But what about the other countries?
As I said, Omar, that the low-level participation, when you say that there won't be officials from the, governments as such or the capitals, and it will be attended by many diplomats of the embassy. Embassy's diplomat attending means that there is a message. There is a message that we are attending it because it is a multilateral forum. It is not a bilateral forum, and Pak-India relations or Jammu and Kashmir dispute is not on the agenda. So we are just attending it, but be aware that we know, we are cognizant of the fact that we are attending this multilateral forum meeting, by compulsion. But the fact remains that we are telling you, we are giving this message to you that the embassy official means that we are not actually happy with that. So this is one. Number two is, as you have mentioned, if it is 500,000 security forces and all this that you have mentioned, you can actually go and conquer a country, proper country. If you send all these forces in one go, it could be, a vessel, an equipment, an arsenal, all these resources. You can actually conquer a country. Why the Indian security forces, heavy contingents, with state of the art, these ammunition and arms, why they have not been able to subjugate the will of the people of Kashmir? That is the question. And that question is posed to New Delhi for many, many years, particularly after August, September, and then in December 1989 till today. Human rights violation is one aspect. Amnesty International, Asia Watch, United Nations, many think tanks have written theses and books and etc. that look at this thing. Now, a multi-million dollar question is, if it is an internationally disputed territory, if there is an international or multilateral forum event is taking place, if the human rights violation has broken all the previous record, why the international community, particularly the US and the West, they are not reacting to it? There is no response on
That is
it.
the key that I would like to stop there. That is the key question that we leave to our audience to understand, decipher, and let's see what happens on Monday. All eyes will be on the Indian held Valley and of course the G20 countries. Thank you so very much, Ambassador Saab, to have joined us. That was Ambassador Najam Saqib joining us, talking to us about the G20 summit that is supposed to be held in the Indian held Valley between Monday and Wednesday. China has officially declined. Other countries are to follow suit. And of course, as per Hindustan Times, the presence of low-tier diplomats is also a huge possibility. Let's come to our second segment. The second segment, of course, concerns the situation as far as Pakistan is concerned, what has happened post the 9th of May in our country, and how things have been moving on a very negative note, whether it be the desecration, whether it be vandalism, whether it be this mob ideology, this mob philosophy that has been propagated of late by a certain political party. And the head chairman of that political party now says that he's extremely sorry to see what happened on the 9th of May. This said, whether it be excuse or remorse comes a bit late in the day, and remorse is just not acceptable at this point of time. Much more is needed from that party and the party leader. We've been joined to talk about that by Mr. Muneeb Qadir, political activist, analyst, and dear friend. Thank you very much, Muneeb, to have joined us. It's always a pleasure to talk to you, as you're candid, as you direct. And as I've been also, following your different posts of late, very correct, should I say, politically or diplomatically. Let's come to the warrants, the Zaman Park incident, and of course, the Punjab government trying to ascertain SOPs as to searching the Zaman Park residents for all those who are still hiding somewhere, somehow within that place. Why do you feel there is a certain, how should I say, deadpan or moving forward as far as the PTI or its leadership is concerned? Why don't you just show Zaman Park to the Punjab government or the Punjab police? Why is the chief of the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf so afraid that he has to always bring in journalists so that they can also reiterate his point of view?
It's because there must have been something going on in there, and I believe that the PTI chairman, Mr. Imran Khan, has been taking full advantage of the court decisions that have been coming in his favor, and that too, from be it Islamabad High Court or Lahore High Court, all decisions have been going in his favor. That up to a certain time, the Punjab police, for example, they were not allowed to do anything in relation to Imran Khan, not check Zaman Park, not arrest him, not issue search warrants, not issue arrest warrants. So, it gave a lot of time, it left a lot of time to Imran Khan and to PTI leadership to just disperse away all these people who had been involved in those acts of vandalism on 9th May. And whatever the nation saw with horror. So I think that is exactly what PTI has taken advantage of. They've taken advantage of it to the fullest, and there are a lot of PTI workers who are missing. The same people who on 9th May in video footage can be seen standing in crowds and saying such derogatory things about the institutions and about those who protect our land. Even holding things from that they acquired from the Jinnah house, from the Corps commander's property, and they are waving those things and waving those objects and mocking them. So it's shameful. It's absolutely shameful. They claim to be very brave and very confrontational. If they really are, then where are they hiding? Why are they nowhere to be found any longer?
That is the big question mark that I am sure the PTI leadership can answer at best. Now, at a meeting today, the Chief Minister of Punjab, Mohsin Naqvi Sahab, has ordered that the cases registered against the miscreants be pursued with full force. What, in your point of view, will be the legal repercussions for the PTI leadership and the workers who were part of the May 9 arson?
As you know, there's a lot of controversy that's been going around. First of all, many of the PTI leaders who were very vocal, in inciting these mobs to take the law into their own hands and to change the rate of the state. A lot of them have been arrested under the MPO, but also journalists who are sympathetic to those PTI leaders or who claim to be journalists. They have been crying foul. They have been saying that somehow this is a violation of the law when it's done under the law itself. So that's ironic. I mean, how can an executive action taken under the law be contrary to the law? On the other hand, as we know, in relation to the strict action that is being talked about, which you just referred, Mr. Naqvi also talking about, the ISPR has issued a press release. They've issued a statement that now a lot of those miscreants are going to be tried by the military courts. And again, there's a lot of hue and cry going about it because it's being said that when you've got civilian courts there, then why go in for military courts? But at the same time, just today, even Peshawar High Court has let go of around 150 workers, PTI workers. And we need to know on what basis. Why has there been absolutely no action taken by the civilian courts with regards to what happened on 9th May? We know that the Supreme Court is very generous when it comes to, taking suo motu notice of events such as these. But none of them seems to have been forthcoming. So, unfortunately, and I don't mean to say this as a statement of fact, but the perception that is being created is that PTI supporters, PTI so-called protesters, I would call them either, criminals or miscreants or terrorists. None of them have been taken to task. We have a whole civilian setup. So that somehow, unfortunately, leads to the question of what's going on. Why are these people not being caught? And so military courts, that is where military courts come up, that perhaps there might be some semblance of justice in that regard. And I do understand that it's very important that there be thorough investigation, and only those who are actually involved in those criminal acts. And by the way, those criminal acts are not just everyday criminal acts. They are the most serious of their kind. They are unprecedented. They need to be held to account. And then there's another thing which is being said, that PTI leaders will be let off very easily, and it's only the ground workers, it's only the so-called foot soldiers, the common men who were influenced by Imran Khan's rhetoric, they are going to be caught. But I'm sorry, that's not the case. As we've been seeing, PTI leadership who are involved in inciting these mobs, they've also been taken to task. But also those who so easily get influenced by inflammatory rhetoric by PTI leadership, they also need to learn a lesson that you cannot change the rate of the state. You cannot, non-state actors cannot, take away the state's right that they have over enforcement of the law.
All right, Muneeb, I'd like to also understand one thing. We heard President of Pakistan, Dr. Arif Alvi, talk at a private news channel in which he said two things. He said action should be taken against the miscreants involved in the incidents of 9th May. And secondly, he said transparent investigation should be held and those who attacked the military installations and government properties should be punished. On the other hand, it is only today that we hear a condemnation of the 9th of May incident by the chairman of the PTI. Why was there such a lot of delay for the chairman of PTI to condemn the 9th of May attack? And why is he just resorting to a condemnation? Why is no action being taken against those PTI workers or PTI leaders who were part of inciting the mob that day?
So I first of all doubt whether it was even a condemnation, which I saw coming from the PTI chairman Imran Khan. I really doubt, because just to recall his words, I saw that footage where he's sitting in the court premises in Lahore, and he says that, who wouldn't condemn? He said, who wouldn't condemn the violence that took place on 9th May? He hasn't said that I condemn it. So I think his reply and his so-called condemnation was very evasive. He still is not coming forward in unconditionally condemning what had happened. And like I've said, that this is unprecedented. We've never seen these unruly mobs being able to enter into military installations and change the rate of the state as they did, and mock the whole system, the whole foundations of our state. That is shameful what happened. And then to just say that
shameful is the least of the words that we can use of what happened on the 9th of May this year.
Exactly. And answering Mr. Imran Khan when he says who wouldn't condemn it, my answer to him would be, you haven't condemned it. And so what does that tell me about you? So first of all, it's not a condemnation. Secondly, why is he not so fervently, and why is he not so eager to condemn? Because obviously it's been found out by the law enforcement agencies themselves that it was a very carefully orchestrated plan, and it was being planned for days before Mr. Imran Khan's arrest on 9th May. And fine, PTI supporters may have questions about the appropriateness of Mr. Khan's arrest on 9th May. But is it the first time that a civilian leader, that a political party leader or a politician has ever been arrested? The ruling coalition that we have today.
All right, Muneeb, let me just tell you of one of the aspects of that. According to official reports, there is irrefutable evidence emerging of telephonic communication between PTI's top leadership and the culprits. At least 628, quote unquote, 628 such calls have been traced in Lahore alone. This has been discussed in a meeting very recently held by the Punjab government. So there is ample proof. So you cannot deny that there is no proof, and you can just not hide away from the fact, saying that our leadership or our party was not involved in it.
They're so neck deep into this, they cannot refute it, they cannot deny it, because all the evidence is out there. If they doubt the credibility of that evidence, well, they can get the forensics done. Why are they not talking about forensics? Why are they not talking about because they know that they are going to be falling into a trap of their own making. They know that they're going to jeopardize themselves. It's because like you've mentioned, top PTI leadership, for instance, the legal consultant of PTI himself, standing in the middle of Miami Ridge or something in Lahore, and then, like I said, waving objects in public that he had acquired or actually stolen from the Corps commander's property. Now, what does that tell us about PTI?
Okay, Muneeb, thank you so much to have joined us. We would have loved to discuss more, but we have to cut this program short. Thank you very much to have joined us. Have a great weekend. We'll see you inshallah on Monday. Allah Hafiz.